Militant food programs. Oh, those militant programs, putting kids on diets, making them count calories and feel a whole lot of guilt over what they eat. The obsessive, progressive way of battling childhood obesity has generated a lot of unintended consequences, making kids obsess about what they eat. And that's led to an increase in childhood eating disorders. It's called sickness. My next guest has studied the phenomenon extensively. The Body Image Survival Guide for Parents. This is terrific. It's required reading. And it's written by the great Marci Warhaft Nadler. Marci, thanks for revisiting with us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, draw the links for me between trying to educate kids, but ending up dictating to them and then creating little dictators in their own heads, which make them obsessed, which make them overly self-conscious, which makes, it seems to me, and you can back me up on this, makes a lot of them very, very sick.
You know what the problem is that a lot of times we think about food in a negative. We always think of what we shouldn't eat or what's bad for us. And you know what? Food is a positive. It's something that we need to survive. And the other problem is that we always think of eating and then punishing ourselves for it afterwards, especially around the holidays, right? And you talk about, okay, or going to a party, and I'm going to eat this, and then I'm going to repent for it by going to the gym. Or, you know, I should be eating healthy, but, you know, I really want to have this thing, and so I'm going to eat this, and then I'm going to feel shame about it afterwards. And what we have to do is stop putting shame attached to food. Food is a good thing. Same way as exercise and being active is a good thing. You don't want to teach your kids that after you eat something that's bad for you, you've got to exercise, because then what you're saying is exercise is a bad thing that we have to do to ourselves because we don't like our bodies, instead of something that we do that's a good thing because we like our bodies. And it's the same thing with food, right? We have to just lead by example. We don't even have to talk so much. We don't have to educate so much, to be honest, as parents. As parents, we do the shopping, we do the cooking. What we need to do is bring in foods that are healthy but balanced. You know, I don't believe in good food and bad food. I think it's how we eat, not so much what we eat. Eating a few cookies, eating cake, eating things like that every day, honestly, will not make you sick or overweight or give you diabetes or high blood pressure. It's when that's all you eat. So just bringing in healthy foods, balanced food, and just showing a relaxing mentality around it is going to get your kids to be easy about it. When you go into programs like with schools and things that try to over-educate about food, what happens is, and I say this all the time, I hear from parents who say, okay, we used to sit down for dinner and we used to talk about our day and what was going on, and instead their kids are saying, well, how many calories is that? How much fat is in that I'm eating? And it's become a fear around food instead of just eating because it tastes good and it gives you energy.
Marci, what happens to a 14-year-old girl? We're told that active teenagers, active ones, need about 5,000 calories a day. So what happens to a 14-year-old girl or boy who is active in general but becomes extremely self-conscious, decides to equate self-worth to pounds, something that you always inveigh against? Don't measure your self-worth in pounds.
Right.
But they go against that, and they're measuring their self-worth in terms of pounds. So they go from eating 5,000 calories to 500 or 600 to 700 calories. Take me down that road. What happens? You
know what happens, though, and it's so easy for that to happen because you can't turn on the TV or a magazine or a newspaper without seeing, you know, new ways to lose weight and how to cut calories. So you really feel like you're doing something wrong if you're not cutting down the calories. And kids don't believe that they need these calories to grow. Look, I hear from parents also who say to me, you know what, my daughter, she's really active and she eats really well, but she's put on some weight. And I say, well, how old is she? Well, she's 13. And I'm like, well, that's puberty and she's supposed to gain weight. So we're all so afraid of this normal weight gain also. So what happens is if your body is working properly, if you're feeding it what it needs to be fed and you're exercising, your metabolism works properly. Now, it's like a machine. Your body's a machine. If you're treating it well, it's going to work right. If they start cutting down the calories, what's going to happen is their metabolism slows down. And then when they go back to start eating normally, that's when they will put on the weight. So that's just going to start a whole cycle of eating too little, gaining weight, and all that. But then also what's going to happen is they're going to see once you start eating too little, it starts really, really affecting your brain, and you start thinking you need to eat even smaller amounts and smaller amounts. And then it starts affecting everything. You'll see your kids start to not only get thinner, because that happens later. What's going to happen first is their mood's going to change. They're going to start getting headaches. They're going to start feeling a lack of energy, a loss of interest in school, in friends, in activities. It's going to start affecting them as a whole. So all the things that they want to do and all the things that they've been excelling at, because they're cutting down too many calories, they're going to lose all of that.
Marci, we're looking forward to your book in the new year. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much for having me.